This is Wing Chun DC tutorial number 20. So today I wanted to do a film study actually of one of my favorite fighters ever, and one of the best fighters in the past, at least in the past sort of 30 years, and it's a guy called Andre Ward. Andre Ward is a boxer. He boxed mostly at super middleweight and light heavyweight. Just an absolutely masterful technician. You just almost so rare that you see someone this well versed in the intricacies of boxing than Andre Ward. It's just he really is not the best athlete in the world. I mean, he's a good athlete, but he's not a great athlete. But his boxing skills are just incredible to watch. Really, 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 really amazing because of his ability to fight in every single range. He can fight on the inside, he can fight on the outside, he can fight going backwards, he can fight going sideways, he can fight going forwards, he can jab, he can punch. He's not the best puncher in the world, but he's solid puncher. But he punches, he's a pretty decent puncher. Just textbook. Everything he does is textbook perfect. And most impressively, for a lot of his career, he actually really fought with one arm, his left lead hand, because he had a bad right shoulder which wasn't attached properly. He damaged it, and it was never attached properly back to. I think it was his scapula was detached or something like that. But anyway, so he fought basically most of his career with one, good hand. But if you can just watch, this is a film study. It's a really good film of him. It's Andrew Ward Like Water. It's by a guy called Wiley's Art and Science of Boxing. That's the YouTube channel. You can't quite see it here on the screen recording, but he actually no. Here we go. This is the channel Wiley's Art and Science of Boxing. Definitely a really really good channel to watch. But anyway, so we'll get started. It's just a really cool film study, and one of the things I like about Andrew Ward is his distance management, how he just completely controls the distance. So we're going to watch here. I want to break it up. The first bit is him controlling the distance, and the second bit I want to look at some of his inside fighting. So we're going to have a quick look at how he manages distance. I was actually at this fight, funnily enough. I was in the audience at this fight. Bizarrely, I didn't pick it because I was in the audience, but I was actually there at the time, so I saw this up close. I saw this a few rows back from where this fight is happening, and just watching Andrew Ward is like watching, it's like watching Michael Jordan for me. Anyway, okay, so here we go. We're gonna just look at. I'm gonna try and break down to see what I'm seeing. So first of all, if you look at the way that Ward is moving, okay. He's moving consistently to his right, okay? Arthur Abraham is a very good big puncher, right? He has, first of all, his right hand is very powerful. So what Andre Ward is doing is he's moving predominantly. Sorry, I forgot to remind. This film study has other great fighters that it looks at as well. This is Larry Holmes. We're talking about Larry Holmes versus Kenny Norton. Larry Holmes, again, one of the most Muhammad Ali's chief sparring partner. So this is a film study that looks at like the same thing, distance management. Okay, this is against a different fighter, but what you're looking at here is Larry Holmes and Andre Ward's is their ability to control distance, and what they're doing here is what in boxing is known as stiff arming. So they're using their left lead hand, they're kind of sticking it in the other person's face. He sticks it in his face. And what he's doing is controlling the distance so he can land the right hand. Watch what Ward does here. There he puts his lead hand out and then hits him again. This is against Cole Froch. Cole Froch, another very heavy puncher. Lead left hand blocks his. You'll see this again. So here's Ward using the lead left hand. He's pushing Froch's face away. Froch now can't see anything. Okay. So while he can't see anything, Ward is also can feel where his body is, right? So rather than seeing where his body is, Ward now can feel where his body is. So he can just literally, he knows exactly where the target is. He dips down, left hook, clean left hook, absolutely perfect. Let me get back to the Abrahams fight in a second. Oh, this is This is Floyd Mayweather doing a lot of the same stuff. And this is Andre Ward again. So he uses the jab as a kind of to gauge distance. This is Floyd Mayweather. The use of the lead left hand. There, sticks the left hand out. Sticks the left hand out. This is Floyd Mayweather again using the left hand. This is again. So with the use of the jab in boxing, if you're a good boxer, you don't necessarily use the jab to hurt people. You use the jab to stop people in their tracks, right? To discourage them from coming forward. Number one, and to disrupt their offense. So this is a guy. Here Ward is fighting Mikhail Kessler. Mikhail Kessler is a good boxer, but he's fundamentally not as good as Andre Ward. And this is I remember watching this fight live. This is a really, really good fight because Ward just completely befuddled him. Here we are. This is against Mikhail Kessler. Jabs to the head, jabs to the body. So you stick it to the guy's body. This is Diego Corrales and Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather has just dominated this fight. Jabs to the body. Jabs to the body again. So you can see, like, it's not necessarily hurting him. Right, Arthur Abraham isn't hurt by this punch, but he keeps getting knocked off balance. So Ward just keeps pushing him back. Okay, this is another film study. So I believe the guy on the right was, I forget the guy's name, but he was a great fighter from the 50s, I believe. Charlie Burley is his name. Yeah, Charlie Burley. If we go back here, Charlie Burley was another this is Charlie Burley here in the darker shorts here. Charlie Burley was a fantastic fighter who he had a very similar style to Andre Ward in many ways. If you just watch the use of the jab, is to controlling the distance. So this is why in class I try to make sure that everybody understands the jab and how you utilize the jab to control distance from range. If ever, I would always recommend this. If ever you're in trouble, if you're sparring and you're having a hard time with the other person, if you just start pumping a jab out, they have a saying in boxing that everything comes off the jab, and that's very, very true. The more you jab, the more opportunities open up for you to land a harder shot with the right hand. So I want to fast forward this in a second because I want to look at some other parts, some other aspects of particularly of Andre Ward's game. This is Andre Ward again, moving his head in and out, just masterful control of distance. Charlie Burley again, similar kind of style. But look, let's move forward. We're going to go now into the infighting. So this is again where Andre Ward was absolutely fantastic. Here we go. This is the Andre Ward. Andre Ward was also really, really good at nullifying his opponents up close. So he can control the distance from range incredibly well with his jab, stiff arming people using the jab, jabbing to the body, jabbing to the head, moving in the direction that the opponent doesn't want to go in. You saw that in the beginning with Arthur Abraham. He would always circle away from Abraham's right hand to make sure that he was never in danger. So this is a guy called Alan Ward. Here is fighting Alan Green, and you want to see how good he is up close as well. So Ward basically smothers. So he's smothering, he's holding onto his arms here, smothering him, making sure that Green. This is quite similar to Chisao in the way that you basically prevent the other person from being able to get any punch off. Look, here we are. This is boxing clinch stuff. It's not quite as sophisticated. This is what you see in wrestling or in Wing Chun or in Muay Thai, but it's effective because you just don't have as many weapons in boxing. But it's still very useful. So he traps the arms. There hits when so Ward moves himself into position. He's pinning his guy up against the ropes, moving himself into position and unloading power shots. Yeah, so it's kind of like a Chisao, you know, it's a little bit like Chisao. You're basically holding and hitting, which is what Chisao is, but obviously the posture is different. Andre Ward is notorious for using his head to just kind of push into the other person, and this again goes for posture. You see this a lot in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and good wrestling, is you lead with the head because the head is incredibly strong and very frustrating. If the Alan Green's making a mistake here, his head's above Andre Ward, so he can't get, when you're in a clinch, if your head's up here, the guy's jamming their head in, it's extremely difficult to win those confrontations because your posture isn't quite as strong. This is Roberto Duran, who is another master. But Duran's in the black shorts here. Duran is an absolute master at inside fighting as well. Here we are. This is Andre Ward and Cole Froch again. See, Ward is shielding his head here, holding Ward's arms, trying to move him around, and then punching when he's in position. Here's Roberto Duran. Again, very similar. Holds and hits. Holds the guy's head, moves, and then hits him. Which is kind of what you should be doing in Chisao. This is Ward just beating. He beat Alan Green up here. He just beat him up really badly, beating him up relentlessly. This is him against Chad Dawson. Holding. Look, if you can see what Ward is doing here. He's holding onto Dawson's left arm. He's got a side position on him, and he's shooting an uppercut up the side. It's not Wing Chun punch, but it's a Wing Chun principle there. You hold and you hit. So anyway, I thought it was a really, really cool little study there of some of the best fighters, the best boxers, you know, that have ever lived, and how adaptable they were, how able they were to control distance, how able they were to then go on the inside and control the other person on the inside. You know, and again, it comes down to martial arts. Any martial art you want to do, the person who understands distance the best is almost always going to win the fight. So that's why I make sure that all my students have a very, very, very good understanding of distance. What weapons are needed in what distance. And you know, I look at all arts. Kicking is a whole completely different game. Like kicking is you know, a different sport. I feel like I spend less time studying that simply because I feel like in a street confrontation, kicking is much more dangerous and much rarer. You know, using a kick in a street fight is not something I would recommend, or in a self-defense situation. It's just too risky. You can get taken down unless you're really good at kicking. Much harder to pull off an accurate kick than an accurate punch. For, you know, obvious reasons. Your hands are just much more coordinated than your legs for the most part. But anyway, so any questions about this, comments, leave them below and I'll get back to you. And yeah, I highly suggest looking up this Lee Wiley. I think his name's Lee Wiley, but anyway, Wiley's Art and Science of Boxing, which is phenomenal channel and really worth kind of looking into. So you get to see some, you know, he does a lot of videos on all-time greats. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.